I am delighted to be here for this Congress of the Sangguniang Kabataan in Mindanao. The gathering of youth leaders of the country takes place amid many historical developments in our national scene. You are of course well aware that the Senate, sitting as an impeachment court, has now rendered a decision on the impeachment complaint against Chief Justice Renato Corona. Beyond this, our political parties are already gearing up for the 2013 elections for senators, congressmen, and local officials. Here in Mindanao, among the most important issues is the peace process and the ongoing peace talks between the government and the MILF. I think much more needs to be discussed across the negotiating table. My hope is that the two sides are able to hammer out the points of contention and emphasize what they have in common. I cite all of these developments to impress upon everyone the need for youth leaders to be aware of what is happening in the national scene as much as you are interested in what's happening only in your own constituency, province, or local government unit. As youth leaders, you have an obligation to understand what is going on around you so that you can participate actively in national affairs and help formulate government policy. As chair of the Senate Committee on Local Government, I am very much interested in the ongoing debate on what to do with the Sangguniang Kabataan. Before there was SK, well, we had what was known as the KB, or the Kabataan Barangay, which existed during the 70s. The KB was an effort to harness the talents and energies of the youth in national government. The SK we have today is the organizational expression of that state policy to give the youth the widest possible opportunity to take part in nation building. I therefore stand for reform of the Sangguniang Kabataan rather than the abolition as proposed by some sectors. Let us discuss briefly some of the arguments that are being made on either side of the abolition issue. First, the proponents of abolition claim that the welfare and the concerns of the youth can still be advanced and protected without the Sangguniang Kabataan. They say that government programs to improve the country's educational system will be sufficient to ensure a better future for the youth. They say that the SK is not the only structure for the representation of youth. Second, the proponents of abolition contend that SK does not work and that it is useless. They say that government has given it much resources over the years, but there have been no discernible results. They say that the SK is a colossal waste of money and should be done away with to save government funds. Third, the proponents of abolition assert that the SK is a breeding ground for corruption, that the young learn early about the bad side of politics, like commissions in contracts and projects, that the SK really does more harm than good, because instead of harnessing the idealism and readiness to accept change, the SK only exposes them to dirty politics at an early age. Fourth, the proponents of abolition insist that the SK is unnecessary, as young people would have difficulty balancing their scholastic career and their political career, and that the SK officials should in fact be in school rather than playing politics. The Department of the Interior and Local Government is among those calling for the abolition of the SK, as it is convinced that the SK has failed to be functional and effective in the delivery of public services under the local government code. Well, some of these are valid concerns to be sure, but I certainly don't think abolition of the SK is the solution. First of all, youth participation is enshrined in Section 13, Article 2 of the Philippine Constitution. The state recognizes the vital role of the youth in nation building and shall promote and protect the physical, moral, spiritual, intellectual, and social well-being. It shall inculcate in the youth patriotism and nationalism, and encourage their involvement in public and civic affairs. To give flesh to this constitutional provision, Congress created the Sangguniang Kabataan in 1991, precisely to introduce young people to government service at the local, provincial, and national levels. I believe that the abolition of the SK will deprive the youth of the opportunity to participate in nation building. The SK can train the youth to become good leaders in the community. SK officers can serve as the voice of the youth in their community, and SK projects can enhance the skills and capabilities of the youth. Certain proposed amendments to certain provisions of the Republic Act 7160, or the Local Government Code. One is increasing the age bracket of the Sangguniang Kabataan from 15 to 17 to 15 to 21, and the age qualification bracket of SK officials from 18 to 21, amending sections 424 and 243 of the Local Government Code. I also support the proposal to give some degree of fiscal autonomy to the SK, like those granted to local government units, so that the youth councils will not be beholden or be used for partisan activities by the barangay elders and the mayors. Fiscal autonomy will entail remedial legislation that will give SKs their share in the internal revenue allotment or IRA to be released directly to the youth councils. And then, of course, we must depoliticize. This is a key issue in this discussion of whether or not to abolish the SK. Is that the SK has become merely a political arm of the incumbent officials, the incumbent barangay officials, or the incumbent mayors or municipal officials or city officials. There is some truth to that, because what do? If we are local government officials, we would like to have one of our own in position in the SK, and that is why the SK has sometimes become such a contentious issue in the local government. Proponents of abolition assert that SK has been given a great deal of funding and nothing has happened. Now, I ask you, the SK officials, is that true? Have you been, malaki na ba ang binigay sa inyong pondo na hindi nyo nagamit? Palagay ko, hindi nakakaunawa ang mga sumulat nito tungkol sa mga tunay na pangyayari, lalo na pagdating sa barangay level. Ilang beses na nakarinig ang ating mga SK official kapag sila ay makaisip ng project, sila ay makaisip ng activity, pupuntahan nila yung kanilang the head of the local government unit and sasabihin yung aming porsyento kung pwede i-release para magamit. Ano yung sasagot sa inyo? Daming pera, nabigos na. So, we'll have to do some. Para walang ginawa ng ating SK kundi mag-fundraising. So that is a fallacious argument because it simply does not happen that way at the ground level. I know that it is so. It is just a question now of showing our leaders, of showing our people that this is what you have pledged to do, and this is what you are continuing to try to do, and this is the effort, the cause that we are continuing to build for. So, good luck with all of your efforts in the SK. Asahan ninyo na kayo sa Sangguniang Kabataan ay may kaibigan dito sa inyong abang lingkod na si Senator Marcos na tutulong sa inyo sa anumang bagay na pampatibay at pampalakas at para mapili na ang buong Pilipinas sa boses ng kabataan. Thank you.